Hello and welcome to the Jefferson County Democratic Party virtual phone bank training. I want to thank you for volunteering and for contributing to big wins in Jefferson County for Democrats. What you are doing is very important, and you are part of why this election is going to succeed. I am Catherine Wallace. What we are going to be doing is making phone calls and encouraging people to vote and vote the whole ballot. But you will find on the left here virtual phone bank, and that's where you're going to want to go. And when you do that, you're going to see a bunch of phone banks. And so you don't have to have the fancy number. We're going to make it in English. So right now what you're seeing here is a lot of volunteer recruitment phone banks, but you can see at the top it's got HD22 General. So by the time you log in on Friday or whenever to start making your phone calls, all the House districts will have one that says General. But I only got one made today, so that's the one we've got. So you will just pick your House district and the one that says General, and then do a next. And you're going to get this thing that says welcome. And so this is what the phone bank looks like. You're going to see the name of a person. It's also going to have names of other people in the household. Now, you know, these days everybody has a cell phone. It's not like you're going to be calling a lot of home phone numbers. But if you do know, in this case, I'm calling Kelly, and Kelly is a female. And if a man answers the phone, it might be Todd. So I put that up here for you. You can always switch over by clicking on it. And this is your target. This is who you're going to call. You are going to use your own phone. However, we have a video about how to set up Google Voice, which is a way that you can use a phone number other than your own. But you can do that if you don't want it to be coming from your own phone. After you get in and make the call, you call the phone number here, then here is the script. Before I go into the script, though, I want to show you what else is here. Along the side, it's going to have the precinct number right here. If you know how to read a precinct number, this is going to tell you, and it's the fourth and fifth character of the House district. But you don't have to know that if you scroll all the way, not quite all the way down. Here we go. Under districts, this shows you all of this stuff, including the House district right here. So you don't have to parse the precinct number, it's right there. And you might want to know that because that might be a question people are going to ask you as well. Who are my candidates? And so then when you jump over to the candidate page, and you're going to want to have that web page up, the Jeffco Dems website, while you're making your calls, because you're going to have to refer to it probably a lot. Well, hopefully a lot. And so you will have the candidate page there. And after, you know, you're going to know that, right? If you're calling for 22, you're going to know it's Mary Parker. But if you want to see any other information, and you can refer them to the candidate page, as well as that elections resources page, which is really what we're pushing people to do, is go to that. And there is some other information here that you may or may not want. You can collect their email address, and this will actually allow you to come down in here and enter an email address. And then if you hit save new, which that will get them saved into the Jefferson County Democrats big database. We love having email addresses. Not required, not expected, just letting you know. So let's look at the script now. So it says right here at the top, please use another browser window and have the elections resources page open to refer to. As I've told you, that's really important. And then this is the voicemail script. Now we've tweaked this a little bit, so and we're still tweaking it a little bit. So please do, when you jump in next week to start making your calls, actually read the script. And then of course you're probably going to read it off as you're leaving the message, because otherwise you'll forget. But it's very, very short, basically. Hello, fill in your name. I'm a volunteer with the Jefferson County Democratic Party. Ballots will be arriving as early as October 13th. Now, the ballots are being mailed out on the 9th, but we've been told that we can expect them on the 13th. So that's why it's set as that. We actually changed this from "Are you ready to vote?" to "Do you have a plan to vote?" And then in addition to great Democrats up and down the ballot, there are 11 ballot measures to vote on. We would like you to be prepared to vote as soon as you receive your ballot. You can go to the jeffcodems.org to do all your research. We're counting on your vote to win big in 2020. This should not take very long to read. Of course, you're going to read it with more personality than I just did, but that's the voicemail script. Now, if you actually reach somebody, that's like awesome. You get to like jump for joy. And you'll introduce yourself, and I like to start by just asking people if they're planning to vote. Now, I will be shocked if anybody says no. But if they do, chances are that's not going to be a call that goes well. And you're welcome to gracefully end it at that point. Now, if you want to encourage them to vote and get into that conversation and hear why they're disaffected, that's up to you. But you are welcome to end the call at that point gracefully. Obviously, we're not going to hang up on people. Just so you know, our target audience for all of this, these are our targets for the lit drop and the phone banking. Democrats that are frequent, and then some new Democrats, people who've recently registered. So these are people who really should be planning to vote. This is not unaffiliated voters. This is not persuasion. This is about getting out the vote, getting Democrats to vote and vote the whole ballot. So then we're going to ask, do you know there's 11 ballot measures, right? There's so much at stake. We want to make sure that you vote in every race and on every ballot measure. And then we change this also to say something very similar, but, about voting and having a plan. And then, our little thing about a thoughtful and informed decision. And again, we're going to refer them to the election resources page. And then we will ask at that point, is there any information I think we changed that to, are there any questions I can answer or something? And then if they have questions, hopefully you can answer them through the elections resources page, through the candidate page. If you find that you're getting questions that are not being addressed, contact us and we'll get you answers and either add something to the script or to the resources page. Hopefully, pretty much everything you need to know will be on that website. And you always want to ask people to have an ask, because it's amazing how once people have said they'll do something, they're much more likely to do it. So if you can extract a promise from them, that's a good thing. And then you can just close with, thank you for being the most important part of the democratic process and have a great day. Now, that one question is the only thing that you need to put in as far as answers go. We are not collecting a bunch of answers. And honestly, the only reason that that's here is because the way Van works, if you don't have at least one question, you can't mark the call as complete, which is a quirk of Van. So down here is just one little answer to put in. When you say, can I count on you to vote the whole ballot? If you never got to that point, you can just mark didn't answer. If they say yes, if they say no, again, I don't expect anyone to say no, but that's there in case they do. And so that's all you have to do is pick one of these. Now, I'm going to scroll back up to the top and show you something. Up here, it says save and next call, and I don't know if you can see my cursor, but it's grayed out. You can't do that. In order to save and go on to the next call, you have to do one of two things. You either have to answer the question, so I'm going to do that. Whoa. For this one, I'm going to put didn't answer. Now you can see it's blue, and I can save it. The other thing that might happen is you don't reach them, right? You're going to have to leave a message. That's going to happen most of the time. So that's this red thing right here where it says I couldn't reach Kelly. And if I click on that, so you can come in here and, some of these are a little bit redundant. I mean, not home and left message, yeah, maybe you won't be able to leave a message and then you can just mark not home. I'm not really concerned about it. We're not really tracking the number of messages that were left. If somebody is really rude and says, don't ever call me again, do mark them as do not call. But just because, if they don't actually say don't call me anymore, I can tell you that so many numbers are marked as do not call in Van. And I think people get a little bit exuberant about marking things as do not call. So if they just hang up on you, that's not a do not call. If they're just like, I don't have time for you, that's not a do not call. If they say, don't ever call me again, that's a do not call. And the rest of these are honestly, we're not tracking that. So you don't have to worry about marking it as left message or not home. Deceased is another one that if you mark it, that'll get put into the Van database, and that's a good. And as soon as I click that button, it's up here. Well, this says try number 2 of 2. That's because that was marked not home. And it will do that.
Thank you for participating in this training session. We're going to win. We're going to win big. Well, right? Go blue.
Phone numbers, although sometimes there's bad numbers. I will say this. If you've done phone banking in the past with Van, it's probably been really frustrating because so many of the numbers are just totally wrong. And you get all these people like, I have no idea who you're calling for. So this year, Van, the powers that be behind Van, they purchased a bunch of phone numbers and they're really good. Like, I don't know who they got them from, but like your hit rate is going to be a lot higher. And just the number of people we have a phone number for is much higher. So if you've been discouraged in the past and frustrated, it's not going to be as bad. You're still going to leave a million voicemails. So I just want to show you here where it says try number 2 of 2 way up here at the top. So now I'm going to go down, and instead of putting that, I'm going to go down and actually fill in the question, and I'm just going to put a yes. And now, see how it says save and next call? Thank you. Yeah, yeah. And so it will only turn up as blue if 65,000 doors that we want to hit. And at this point, we're thinking we're going to hit them all.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for all of you who are participating in this training session. We're going to win. We're going to win big. Go Blue.